Our next guest on the pod took the world by storm as she ran in the Great World Race, running 7 marathons in 7 days in 7 continents, dressed in full firefighter gear. She's a full-time firefighter back at home in South Wales of the UK. We are wicked excited to have Bex with an X on the On the Runs podcast. What's up, Bex?
Hey, yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Super happy to have you joining us today. We love when we get guests from across the pond, as Eric likes to say. But it's super cool to finally meet you. You were one of our favorite people to watch on the live stream for the Great World Race, just because you were battling some intense heat and in that full firefighter gear. That is one of the most badass things I've seen. So I can't wait to hear more about it.
Yeah, probably one of my stupidest ideas, if I'm quite honest.
I can't wait to hear all about it. You're going to learn that we wing a lot of this stuff on the podcast. I just got through this whole like, hey, do I call you Rebecca? Do I call you Bex Rowe? And then I just said Bex with an X because actually it clicked in my head. There are 2 Bex there, and we love one of them because we've had her on the podcast before, is Bex Gentry. But then to differentiate the try to say that again, Eric. Try to figure out the 2 of you when we're talking on the pod. I think Tara Pterodactyl was the first one to say it. She goes, Bex with an X, because and I think it's awesome. It's how we identify you now, Bex with an X. And Erica's right. It was so fun. We fell in love, I think, on day 1 because I was first like Antarctica, like in a firefighter gear. I bet that's warm. And then you wore it the next day or less than that in like 95 degrees in Cape Town. I'm like, oh my God, she's going to die.
I mean, I did feel like I was going to die many times through that week. Honestly, it was the most nuts, intense week probably of my life, I reckon. It was just madness, absolute madness. Yeah. And that first one in Antarctica. So I've never run a marathon ever before that week.
What?
Yeah, the furthest I'd done was a half marathon just in training. So, because I'm not a long distance runner at all. So, I was excited to do my first one, and obviously being in Antarctica was pretty cool. But I got just over halfway in that marathon, and I thought, what the hell have I done? What, you know what I mean? Like, what am I doing? Like,
no,
madness, yeah. And then from that moment on, really, every marathon was pretty horrific, I've got to say. The experience of the week and the people, we were like this bunch of people thrown together, and after everyone had kind of got rid of the awkwardness and not known each other in the first couple of days, we were like this random family all thrown together for the week. It was just amazing experience, but the running was horrific for me.
Oh no.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people now that I'm thinking at least 3, you, Justin, and Tariq, never ran a marathon before when you signed up for this. What were you thinking?
I don't know. I do not know. I just thought, wow, basically Instagram's fault that made me I ended up doing the marathons, and I saw the ad, and I just thought, wow, that's a pretty cool challenge. What? Maybe
you didn't think maybe I should run a marathon first.
Well,
I'm not giving you a hard time. I'm just
no. I did wonder. The thing is, I only had 5 months to train for it. So, and I never done any long distance running before. So, I kind of I had a great guy, John Fern, that set my training, and I think if I'd just gone and whacked out a marathon, I might even end up injured. And that was the problem. With 5 months, it was quite. You have to be really careful how much training I did, because I just didn't have the miles in my legs, So, and I'm not built for running either. I'm quite a big person, so I had to be quite careful. Yeah, so I just went for it. I just winged it. You love winging it, don't you? That's what I did.
Yeah. That's what we're all about. But I gotta say, I think Instagram's totally to blame for half of this shit, because who
really
else was it
Hillary
or was
Hillary, Mary Morgan.
Yeah. Like, what the hell, Instagram?
Right.
Targeted ads. They really were.
Yeah.
David Kelly did a good job promoting this on social media. He did.
He really did. He really
got a
did.
lot of people who didn't run marathons. I wonder if he was ever worried. We'll have to maybe have him on around the next Great Road Race and be like, did you look at the resumes of some of these people and you're like, never ran a marathon before, not suitable to run at all, and gonna what's the insurance policy he had to get on this thing?
Whatever it is, he's a genius because it worked, and he filled up the team. And I love that you guys made it a family. You guys trauma bonded, basically.
Yeah, I think
that is exactly what we did. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
we were
bonded
super
over
jealous,
pain.
envious the whole time, and everyone knew about it because it was all over social media, and they had the live stream, and that's how we fell in love with you people. Because, like, it was gotta give credit to Ben.
Yes.
Got to give major credit to Ben because he wasn't just like, I'm going to follow the popular people. No matter how many people said on the chat, where's Justin? Where's Justin? Where's Justin? Because half that group was there for Justin. He went and focused on everybody else, including like the whole you and Mary Morgan story. And that's why I think, like, outside of the 3 people who were our pod fan before the race, we were always like, where's Mary and where's Bex with an X? We're so into this. And kudos to the whole Great World Race team, Ben, and with the Twitch live stream and TDLR. Did I say that right? TDLR? I don't know. Yeah. But it was great. We're getting really into this, though. And
we gotta do.
Yeah.
Get back
into
to
know, Bex,
what makes you, Bex.
Right. And you weren't a runner. So what did you do?
So my background is international sports. So I've done quite a few sports throughout my life. And so I used to be a swimmer when I was growing up. And then I moved on to rowing. So I was a rower for quite a while. I also did a sport called surf lifesaving. A bit like Baywatch, but we don't wear the red costumes. And it's a little bit more serious than prancing around. Yeah. And then rugby. Finally rugby. And then after that, after finishing international sport, because I was injured, I ended up doing a crazy challenge to the South Pole with my friend George. We're sort of a little team called the Antarctic Fire Angels, and she's a firefighter as well. And we basically started this this team to basically be more visible as female firefighters, and to also sort of get women to follow their dreams, you know, and not let barriers get in the way, especially gender. So we ended up going on a 1,230 kilometer trek, just the two of us in Antarctica, to the South Pole. We left in 2020, November 23, got there last January. And it took us 53 days. It was pretty savage. Yeah, pretty savage.
I'll say.
So
777 was a cakewalk. Compared to that journey.
I don't know,
that wasn't even her first trip to Antarctica. So
no,
and then awesome.
Yeah, what's nuts is, I could never have dreamt of going to Antarctica twice in the same year. That's just, it's just mental to be there. But yeah, madness. But you know what? The 777 was, I don't know if it was worse. It was just, because it was such a short, intense thing. And I didn't have that long to train for it. I'm not sure if it was worse than Antarctica. Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to tell. You did some incredible shit before that, but then that's just so bam, 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 bam. There's no sleep. There's no real rest. Like, I would have to do it to tell myself, but it seems like 777 was kind of worse.
Yeah, it really was, because, you think, especially coming from an athlete background, you do a marathon and then the first thing you do is recovery, isn't it? That's all you're thinking about is recovery. If you're going to do another one the next day, get off your feet, eat some food. But no, not with 777, especially because I was one of the later finishers as well. Time was always a factor. We were always against the clock. So we'd literally finish, eat no food, go and quickly have a quick shower, pretty much, get on the bus, get to the airport, walk around the airport. I stupidly took all of my gear in 2 holdalls, no wheels on my cases.
Oh no.
Nothing. So I spent the whole time then between all of the marathons dragging my bags around, as well as my my oxygen tank that I was running in. It was just, everyone was like, what the hell? Why didn't you get wheels for your bags? I was like, it didn't even cross my mind. I'd be dragging these bags around between countries and every airport.
Honestly, I don't think that's something I would have thought of, but since you mentioned it, I'm like, wow, that would
was
make
horrific.
A huge difference.
So dragging all these things around, and eventually, usually getting a bit of food then once we got on the plane, and that's when the rest came and the recovery. But it was just mental, like sleep deprived. Recovery was out the window. It was literally it was an absolute mental game, I'd say, after the first one.
I believe it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Now, back at home, you're a full-time firefighter. Tell us how
Yeah.
you became a firefighter.
So I've been a firefighter for about 7 years. I was actually a teacher before that.
Oh.
And a PE teacher or sports teacher.
Excellent.
But I got into firefighting because I had a couple of friends involved in it, and I just retired from international sport, and I was kind of looking at my life, and I thought, oh, do I want to be a teacher for the rest of my life? Is it enough for me? And then a couple of friends said, why don't you join the fire service? They're looking for people. So I thought I may as well, nothing to lose. So I went through the process, which is quite lengthy here. I don't know what it's like in America. It takes about 9 months to go through the whole process. And so I got in, and then I made the decision at 37, which is quite late in life, to change careers, because, I had a great career in teaching. And I've never looked back since. Like, it's just, people say it's the best job in the world. And for me, it really is. It's not really worked for me at all. And the cheesy thing is, I really wanted to help people. And, this job is all about helping people, isn't it? And, I do some like really exciting, crazy stuff. Obviously, we have, we go to some not so nice stuff as well. But, just the fact that we're helping people and, doing good, and one day is never the same. You tune it to work and you don't know what you're going to get, from one day to the next. And that's something I really like that. And it's brilliant. Absolutely love it.
Well, good for you. That is such a difficult thing to do, to decide to just kind of change your life, because you get so stuck in the routine. And if you realize it's just not going to be fulfilling for you for the rest of your life, then it's awesome that you made that change. It's something like, I don't know, I could do something like that. I don't know. It's just living your dreams, making yourself happy. And that, I really do commend you for that.
I think it's like, it was scary to change that,
Exactly.
to switch your career that late in life. And
unknown, something unknown.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. But I think you've just got to go for it. And, you've got to try and put that bit of fear aside that it might not work out, and just, maybe have a plan B in case, and just go for it. I think definitely.
Exactly. Very cool.
I think that's badass.
It's so badass.
Thanks.
That's awesome.
One of the most badass professions I can think of too.
I was pretty close to becoming a police officer, and I remember being on a ride along, and we pulled up to another cop car, and our friend who is a cop, Erica, and I went to college. We have a college friend, Kevin. Kevin's giving me the cop ride, and he introduced me to another friend, and he goes, "Don't be a cop, be a firefighter." He goes, "People hate cops, but they love firefighters because they're heroes." So I never became a cop, but I didn't become a firefighter either.
Yeah, we've got a better job, I think, firefighters, definitely.
But that's still a very active job too. So it's not like you may not have been running, but you're still doing very active things in your everyday life.
Yeah, definitely at work. We've got to stay fit and and carry a lot of stuff. That's pretty a lot of what we do is carry heavy things around the place. Seems
So my question for you: we saw you running all of these marathons in the full gear. What is the weight of the gear that you were actually carrying?
Yeah, so
like
the
gear, suit is huge, and it adds
so
up.
It was about it was probably about, so my suit, so we actually I had it specially made, because there's no way in hell I would have done some of those marathons in the full firefight. I would have actually died, I think, from heat exhaustion.
Cartagena.
And I almost did die anyway in Cartagena. Oh my god, yeah, I thought I was gonna KO many times in that race, but so the suit, it was probably, I think overall the suit and the tank on my back, it was about 10, 11 kilos, which is what, 20 odd pounds.
That's a lot. Mm-hmm.
So it was enough. Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah, because the main reason for wearing the gear was to be visible as a female firefighter. That was the main reason. So I didn't intend to make it harder, because it's already bad enough, the 777, isn't it? But obviously it was harder because I was carrying that, and the heat as well. Yeah.
Well, let's get into it. You did the 777, but let's start from before the first race. When you found this on Instagram, what made you think, I want to do this in the firefighter suit, because you're a lady firefighter?
Yes. Well, what actually happened, so George, the other person in my team who'd been to Antarctica with me, so we were actually looking for a new challenge because we wanted to continue our message of, you can follow your dreams. Women and girls don't, gender isn't a barrier to growing up in life, and also to put female firefighters on the map, so to speak. So we were looking for a challenge, and I stupidly found this Instagram challenge, and I had texted George. It was about 3 weeks after we got back from Antarctica, and I texted her saying, what about this? Thinking she would say, don't be so ridiculous. And she didn't. She bloody said yes. And I was like, shit, what have I done? And then I thought, well, we can't just do it as generic runners, we're doing it for a reason, so we're going to have to do it in fire gear with a breathing apparatus set on. And she was like, oh, for God's sake. But so that was the plan. So that's what happened. But unfortunately, as we got closer to the time, we couldn't raise enough money for George to go with me, so that's how I ended up going on my own. But George still did it the same time as me in the UK, so she did 7 marathons in 7 days, but on seven, I was going to say, not continents, sorry, and 7 counties in the UK. So she went around the UK doing it instead, yes, at the same time. But we started a day earlier, didn't we? Because of there was storms coming Antarctica. So I was always 1 marathon ahead of her, which I think mentally really she struggled with that one. But so that's how it happened, really. And I think a few weeks before we left for 7-7, I think it really started to hit me that, oh shit, like I've never done a marathon and I'm doing 7 in 7 days. Like, I don't even know what it's like to do a marathon. Am I gonna do it? And I think that was my main worry, was, am I actually gonna be able to finish this? Am I gonna be able to do it? Because we'd had our training for the 5, for the time, and we'd been running with weighted backpacks on to kind of simulate running with weight. And then in the last few weeks, we've been running in the fire gear with a set on, a few runs just to, and it was pretty horrific. And the most I'd run was 2 hours with it on, so I was thinking, oh Christ, it's gonna be tough. Yeah.
All right, I want you to paint me a picture here. You show up to Cape Town. Who knows you're doing this? Like, who knows your story? Who knows that you've never run a marathon and you're going to do this in a firefighter suit? What was their first reaction when you go, "Hi, I'm Bex, and I've never run a marathon, and I'm going to do this in full firefighter gear"?
Yeah, you know what? So a few of us, as people were turning up, we kind of had a little WhatsApp group, and we'd meet up for dinner. And I didn't know anyone. There was a couple of people I'd messaged on Instagram that I knew were doing the race, but that was it. Didn't know anyone. So everyone met on this first dinner, and everyone was talking about their running backgrounds or what they'd done, races they'd done. And I was like, I haven't got a clue what they're talking about here. And so we went around the table, and then it got to me, and I felt a little bit awkward and like, oh God, to say. So when I started saying, I've never done a marathon, and they're like, oh, right, okay. So but you've done one in training? I was like, no. They were like, well, what's the furthest you've run in training? I was like, well, half marathon. They were like, what the hell? And then when I said, oh yeah, and so I'm why are you doing it? And I started telling them, well, I'm a firefighter and doing it in fire gear for female firefighter. And they were like, what? You're doing it in what? And I think there was probably some people that thought there's no way in hell she's going to do it. She's never done a marathon. She's doing 7 in a week, and she's doing it in fire gear. Like, what is she doing? Like, this woman is mad. Because, they didn't have a clue who I was. Like, who is this stupid woman from the UK? That's the kind of vibe that I got before we started. Yeah.
Oh man, that's not a good way to start things off. Like,
no,
I'm not crazy. No. I swear I could do this. I'm going to show you.
That's it. And I remember speaking to George, who was, back in the UK, thinking, oh, George, I'm not feeling massively confident. I'm here with there's some absolutely amazing professional runners here, and I am feeling really inadequate and inferior, and I'm not sure I'm going to do
it's
this.
It's hard to do that when there are literal Olympians on that
exactly.
plane with you.
Exactly that. I was like,
what was David's reaction? David Kelly, the race director, because isn't part of the application process you have to call him and have a conversation on the phone?
Yeah, We'd had quite a few Zoom meetings with David, but he was great. I think because we'd done the trek to the South Pole, the 53 days, he was basically like, when we told him what we wanted to do and in the fire gear, and he was like, he always had confidence that I was going to do it. I think he was like, you've done this and you've got the mental mindset, and I think that was the biggest thing for him. And I know you'll do the training, and he was never really in doubt, which was nice to know,
It's just the pro runners. The pros were like, "You're crazy."
Yeah, they were literally. I don't think they could quite believe what I was doing. I mean, to be honest, I could not believe what I was doing either. And I still, when I think about it now, can't believe that I did it. If I'm honest, it is amazing how far your mind can push the body when you have to, when you want to. Definitely.
I'm thinking if anybody was like, "Yeah, girl, you got this. You can do it." It would have probably been Justin Spencer. I'm thinking, do you remember the first time you met Justin? Because he never ran a marathon, but he's always about positivity and like, yes, go, you got it. I bet you his reaction when he learned about this was more like, hell yeah, versus, huh?
He was probably like, good, I'm not alone.
I think it was that. And certainly when we were during the marathons, this is the support within our, little family was just amazing when everyone was running, even from the super fast runners at the front, because we were doing it in loops, it just made it so much nicer because you would see everyone all the time and they'd always be shouting at me, come on, you got this. And it massively helped, especially, in the second half of some of those marathons were just, it was just horrific. And Justin was one of the ones that would be, thumbs up, giving high fives, saying well done. He was always there with the positiveness, always, and you could see sometimes on his face he'd be struggling. And but it was brilliant, honestly. The support from everyone was just brilliant, and I think that's how I got through it, definitely, and probably most people got through it. Yeah,
it's kind of nice to know that everybody was really in the same boat. Like nobody was feeling good after these things, so
No.
you may have been miserable, but everybody else was right there with you.
Yeah, that did, in a sick way, it did make me feel better that even
Misery
the pros
loves company, right?
struggling. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
So Bex, why don't we break this down race by race and just kind of get a feel of how it went and just give us, we like to say spare no details. So if you have any fun stories behind each race, let us know. We love to hear it. So why don't we just start with Antarctica, your very first marathon ever.
Yeah, so I was very nervous because I didn't know what to expect after a couple hours. But also I was excited because it was my first marathon and we were in Antarctica and I was there again, in a year. It was just
That's
mad.
An epic first marathon.
Yeah,
if I do say so myself. Yes.
Isn't it? I knew, because I'd been to Antarctica before, so I knew that like the ground would be pretty hard, not too horrific to run on and stuff, but it was a lot softer and slushier than I'd imagined. Especially after
they said like sand.
It was like running on sand for the whole marathon, and it got worse obviously the longer you're out there, and the weather was brilliant. It couldn't have been more perfect. The day, it was barely any wind, the sun was out the whole day.
Epic.
So in terms of the views were just breathtaking, as you can imagine. In Antarctica, it was just beautiful there, which helped with the pain. But as we were out there longer and longer, the snow the ice and the snow got softer and slushier, and it was literally like sand in some parts. You were sinking. I think I slipped quite a few times as well because it was then really icy in parts. But I mean, when I say race, I definitely wasn't racing the marathons. I was just getting through the marathons.
Yes.
Yeah, it was epic. I remember just running, in the first, I would try and take like little videos of myself, to show people when I came back. And the first few videos, in the first hour and a half, where I was, very excited, happy, looking at the amazing scenery. But as time went on, I think the second half, it was just, oh God, the pain, honestly. I had about 18 kilometers to go and it was just awful. It was just awful.
Oh.
The pain and the realization that marathons are hard, really hard. Yeah, just awful. I didn't have any horrific toilet stories because I know, I did
Podcast
notice.
over.
Yeah, sorry, boring. Not on that one. I mean, I did need the loo. I did need the loo, and I did see that random little Portaloo thing sat out there on its
The
own.
tinkle pot, yeah.
And I just thought, I can't go in there. I can't, because, I would have full and I had to take off all my gear, take off the thing. I thought, I can't do it. So I did a detour off to the main toilet. So I think every marathon, actually, I ran more than a marathon because I'd have to detour off to the toilet. So I detoured and had to take everything off.
Oh, I didn't realize that extra piece to this. Like,
how long was that process?
That's more.
Oh, a good 5 minutes, I'd say, at least, to take everything off, put it back on, and then run back over to the course. It was and you know what, on the first one, because I didn't know Mary Morgan really then, because obviously I didn't really know anyone, we just met, hadn't we? But I remember she was in a red coat in Antarctica, and she was always just around me, running around me. And I think that was obviously the start of our lovely friendship and running friendship, I think. Yeah.
I love that.
But it was epic marathon because it was my first, and it was in Antarctica. And, I'll always have that now, that my first ever marathon, if I ever do another marathon, mind, it was in Antarctica. Yeah.
I feel like 7's probably good for you, right? Like, you did 7 of them in a row. Yeah. It's a good stopping point.
Yeah.
So what was your thought process now? You just did your first, and it was one of the hardest things ever. Like halfway through, you were struggling. Were you like, how am I going to do 6 more of these?
Oh my God, 100%. I remember finishing it. I was so excited to finish it. It was an amazing feeling when I was done and had that lush medal. The medals are amazing. I don't know if you've seen them. They are the coolest medals I've ever had. But I remember like stuffing some food down in the mess tent on Antarctica, and just thinking, what the hell have I, it really was what the hell have I done moment. The reality of what I had, what was to come was really hitting. And I remember we got back on the plane, and I don't know if anyone else had said, so I remember this story the other day because we were talking about it in our Great World Race WhatsApp group. But when we went out to Antarctica,
I love it. You're still talking to everybody. I love it.
No, it's a dangerous group, that, mine, because there's all these stupid challenges that the people, next? Oh, you're doing this, doing that. Yeah, it's very dangerous. So on the way out, there was a first class and then just the economy. But first class only had about, 25 seats. So I hadn't noticed, but we thought they'd just done it randomly, who got to have the first class, because obviously you had the lie-down beds. The rest of us were like lying on the floor in between the aisles and by the seats, to try and lie down, get some sleep. So on the way back, obviously we went and all got into our normal seats, and we were like, oh, so gutted, how do those lucky buggers get to be in first class, and lie on their have to lay down beds. And then some, I can't remember who it was now, had basically given me their seat because they'd seen me running all my gear and they couldn't believe it. So they'd offered me their seat, and I was like, oh no, I can't. And all the girls, basically all the girls had said, no, we've said you need to go and have that seat in business class. I was like, oh my God. And I thought, you know what, I'm not going to moan about us twice, and I'm going to do it because I was absolutely wrecked. Yeah. So I was in there, and then I suddenly realized I was in there. It's all men in here. It's just me and all men. I was like, and I started getting the rage. I was like, how the hell is it all men have got these first class, business class seats? I was like, this isn't on, but I didn't say anything. And then suddenly I hear David saying, oh, I've forgotten. Sorry, it's all the women in the business class on the way back. So I put all the men in there on the way there, but it's all the women on the way back. And honestly, everyone will say the faces on the guys that were in business class, oh my God, it was priceless. It was absolutely priceless. Because obviously they've just run this marathon thinking, just settling down, lying on their beds, thinking, oh, we are sorted here. And then suddenly they have to all uproot, get all this stuff. And then all I heard is this massive cheer coming from the back, all the women, because it was only 17 of us on the race, all the women cheering and screaming because we all got to get put in business class for the way back, which was, it was just such a nice moment. It was just such a lovely moment, and just like a real bonding thing for all of us girls, I think, as well. So, yeah, so the way back from Antarctica was brilliant. I got a bit of rest, but I remember getting up from having a sleep when we were about to land, and I thought, Jesus Christ, I cannot walk. I can't walk.
Oh no.
Like, I can't sit on the toilet. Like, how the hell am I going to do another marathon? Honestly, it was just mental. And then we landed and at some like horrific unearthly time in the morning. And we then had to go to our hotels that we'd been staying in Cape Town and sort all of our stuff out, get ready. Because once we'd done the marathon, we were then straight on a plane to fly to Australia. And I literally got to my room and I was like, oh my God. So I packed all my stuff, got ready, got into bed, had an hour's sleep, literally 1 hour sleep. I remember the alarm going off and then trying to like roll out of bed and drag myself to the toilet. And I thought, I just did not know how I was going to, I couldn't walk, let alone run. So it was just mental. And that was how it rolled then from one day to the next, that feeling of I can't move, I can't even sit on the toilet and now I've got to do a marathon. And that was how I felt for every day for that week then. Madness.
Oh no. I totally sympathize with that. I just know like you just get so stiff and you're like, what do I do? What do I do?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's very hard to get moving again.
Yeah. It really is. So I was, trying to do like these tiny little squats to get myself moving. And oh God, yeah. When I think about it now, it's just awful. Yeah.
So how did Cape Town go for you? If you were very little sleep, very stiff, not being able to move very well, how did Cape Town go for you?
Yeah. So
like 100 degrees.
Yeah.
Total opposite of Antarctica.
Massively, yeah. It was really warm, and so the first half an hour, it took me a while to loosen up, if I can say I was even loose, but loosen up a bit. And then and again, it's weird. So you get to the start line, and suddenly everyone's there, and the excitement and the hype of we're doing another marathon, and we're in a different continent, in another city, and it's completely different. It just kind of you get carried away with it, even though you're physically you're a wreck.
Get a little adrenaline in there, right?
Yeah,
that kind of
massively. Yeah. And so off we went for this marathon. And Cape Town was lovely. Around all along the coast, and it was beautiful there. And there was loads of people out as well, loads of public. And I think I just had, no one knew me, but I had so much support because of what I was running in as well. And it was really nice actually to have that as I was running along, and people talking to me for a little bit, or just shouting at me, or go on, and all of this. So it was great. And I think I ran that marathon on my own, the whole thing on my own, that one. And yeah, it was nice. And I remember FaceTiming my mate George, she was starting her first marathon on that day. So we had a nice little chat while I was running, which was good. So yeah, it was good, but it was so hot. I had ice all down me, ice in my sports bra, ice everywhere, ice in my cap. It just trying to stay cool was the biggest issue for me, I think, because the last thing I wanted to do was not complete something because I'd had heat exhaustion. So yeah, the heat was a big thing for me. And then they had like all these sprinklers that they were, because there was some lovely gardens and plants they had, and they had all these sprinklers along the way for some of the route. So I was literally just dashing in the sprinklers, just standing in these sprinklers, trying to keep cool and stuff. People are looking at me like I was nuts, but
hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Exactly. It was all about survival. That is what it was. So Cape Town was they were all hard, they were all horrific, but that was one of the better ones, I would say, one of the nicer ones, Cape Town. And finishing that was great. And the people there were lovely as well, that were organized, helped organize it. So yeah, it was a good one.
I just have a quick question about George. How did her marathon go? And had she ever run one before? Like, were you guys on the same page where she'd never run a marathon before and she was taking on this challenge with you?
She had run one before. Yeah, she'd run one. So she was, she had slightly more experience than me, but not much more.
Well,
but and she used to be a triathlete. So she'd done some running. She'd done a bit more running than me. And she's a bit skinnier than me, a bit smaller. So she is made more for running, and she had done one. So she had some experience of what it was like, but yeah, she found it also horrific. And almost we both argue about whose was worse now when we do a few talks around the country about it, and we do have a little argument about who had it worse. I mean, I suppose for her, like, she did have some support crew to help her organize each one, but no route to organize. She had a route organized, but it wasn't. So she'd be, having to wait at traffic lights for cars and crossroads and all of that kind of thing. Yeah. So It actually snowed as well, and it doesn't really snow or get that cold in the UK. And she almost had hypothermia in one of them in Southampton because it was snowing and she was soaked and she wasn't prepared for that. I know I was in Antarctica, but I was prepared for it to be, minus 20.
Yes,
whereas she wasn't prepared for it to be awful, and it's really damp cold here. And so she had quite a tough time, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, but you guys can bond over that too. Both were miserable.
We definitely bonded over the misery, and how stupid we were to even think about doing it. Yeah.
A big part of this was travel, and you had the wicked awesome airplane and the lay down seats and everything, but you weren't one of the fastest runners. So a Bex Gentry, a Jenny Simpson, Ashley Paulson, they do their race in 3 hours, and they have a ton of time to relax, eat, shower, clean up. How much time did you have after these races when you finish and cross the finish line to like pack up and get ready? And did you relax and eat at all or do anything?
There was no relaxing, no, because I was taking, I think I did a few of them under 6 hours, but it was roughly around 6 hours. So no, it was literally, go quickly, get over back to the hotel or whatever we were sort of basing ourselves, get a shower. And sometimes I'd be able to have a quick bite to eat. And then other times it was literally go, go, go until we got on the plane, really, for me. And that was the tough thing is, I really had little recovery, and I remember feeling really jealous about the faster runners. I know in like Cartagena they'd gone and had a lovely meal in the city while I was still dying, running.
Oh no.
So I'd feel really jealous about them because they'd have all of this time to relax and enjoy the scenery and enjoy a bit of the city that we were in, whereas I was just running and dying. So it was tough in that respect.
Oh,
yeah.
It's hard to see both sides of things. Like, yay, you're running a fast 3-hour marathon, and then you have it where you're 6 hours, but you're wearing all this gear, and it's just kind of a death slog. Like, just trying to make it through, just so you can say, I finished this one too. I'm gonna keep going. And my gosh, it's just total both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah, death slog. I like that. That's what it was.
I've done my fair share of death slogs, but oh my gosh. I mean, I commend you so much for just powering through that. It cannot be easy. And with especially the heat that comes for probably 4 of the 7 marathons were really warm for you. Something like that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Damn.
Yeah.
The next one was Perth, Australia. And from what a lot of people said and what we saw on the stream was it looked like maybe the most beautiful of the 7. Everything. We're talking the weather, the sunset, the location. How was Perth, Australia?
Yeah, Perth was amazing. And it was also, for me, it was one of the best because I've got 2 friends that live in Perth. So my best mate that I've known since I was a kid lives in Perth. And,
wow.
And then my university mate as well lives in Perth. So they both came to the marathon, met me off the bus. We were 2 hours late, mind, so they'd been hanging around for hours, bless them.
Oh, really?
But, so they both came with their other halves and their little ones as well. So that was it was just so amazing for me. We hadn't been away that long, but by day 3, the 3rd marathon, you really are feeling it and feeling a bit vulnerable and emotional and tired. And so to see friendly faces was just so nice. My best mate in Harwich, she stayed for the whole of my marathon. So, because, it took me about 6 hours and she stayed for the whole thing, bless her. Every lap be there cheering me on and waving and shouting for me. And it was just so lovely to have her there at the end as well, to celebrate finishing with her. So the Perth one was great. And we also, the organisers that were there, the running club, they were amazing. And bless them. So a couple of them would run with me for part of the race, especially because it was really windy, mind, in Perth. The wind was really bad.
Oh.
And I don't know if anyone said that. There was really bad wind for definitely for the first half of the race. So they were trying to be like a little shelter for me because obviously I had this big tank and these big clothes. I was like a sail going up and down the path. So so it was really lovely. But there was one girl from I think she was only about 16 and she was really interested in being a firefighter. So it was really lovely that she got to run with me for a bit and we had a good, nice chat and stuff.
That's amazing.
It was really nice. But I was saying then, so in So in the second half, I think I went into a really bad place in the second half. I'd say the third quarter of that marathon, I was really struggling. And I remember them trying to run with me. I just thought, oh God, please don't run with me, because I cannot make small talk now. I am absolutely wrecked. I'm in a really dark place and I do not want to speak to anyone. I just want to suffer on my own and be miserable until I can get myself out of this awful place. So I felt really bad then, because they'd be trying to chat to me and I was literally like completely mute. I was like, and I think they then realised that she doesn't want anyone to run with her now. But Perth was great though, and we had Domino's pizza at the end of it, which is great. So we had
Domino's in Australia, of course.
They got us tons of pizzas. So that was the one marathon actually where I actually got to have a bit of food and recovery, and also when I walked in, because I was one of the last to finish, and because everyone was in there wasn't anywhere to go apart from the like running club place where we were all based. So when I finished and I walked in with my medal, and then everyone was in this big room, and suddenly there was this massive cheer and everyone was screaming like, yeah, Bex, you made it, you finished it. Because I think they'd seen that I was, really struggling. And it was just such a moment for me, for everyone to be so lovely and supportive, within our group. It was just, a really lovely moment, and probably one of the best moments that will really stick with me, I think, from that week was that kind of reception as I walked in. It was lovely. Yeah. And then, they had Ashley like running and getting me a plate full of pizza to eat, and, people helping with all my stuff. It was just a really lovely moment, I think. And, probably sort of a moment where we really bonded as a whole group and as a family, I think, after that Perth one.
I love that. Oh, everybody coming together to help and support and cheer.
Yeah,
that just warmed my heart so much.
It was actually Perth. You just said something and it made me think of this. It was Perth where I started to get the summer camp feeling, because Ben took the live stream at one point into this room, and it looked like a really big room. And I kind of pictured it like a ski lodge. All the bags are everywhere. Everyone has their own slots in their own corner. And at that point, I even think people got comfortable with Ben just being there at any point, whether they want to be on camera or not. And they're just like, oh, hey, Ben, that's when I got the summer camp feeling, those vibes. And it sounds like maybe that's when you became a family too, because Antarctica was Antarctica, in and out, right? You left a whole day early. And then you get back and everyone had 1 hour of sleep before Cape Town. You really got to know each other probably on that first plane ride, and then in Perth in that like a community room.
Yeah, 100%. I think that was definitely the start of the mental summer camp vibes. Yeah, definitely. And everyone just really bonding. I think because we had a little bit more time, so we had time to start, to really start to chat to each other. People get to know each other, and obviously we were all starting to suffer at that point. 33 marathons in. It was really nice. I think that Perth marathon, and like I said, the people that helped organise it, they were just such lovely, great people there as well, and couldn't do enough for us. It was just really nice, really great place. And I think, and also that's where me and Mary Morgan started to have our little bonding. I think definitely after that one.
I was just going to say that, like, we know you and Mary Morgan became besties, but like, who else did you really become close with there from those summer camp vibes?
Question. Good question.
Yeah. So there's Sarah and there's two girls. They were sister-in-laws. I don't know if you remember them. And so they became like my besties, as well as my roomie, I called her. And we all kind of bonded really well throughout the trip, I think, and became like real good pals. And we hung out in Miami as well afterwards for a few days. Just having like amazing time, basically. So they kind of became my real good pals on the trip, I think. It was awesome.
Everlasting connections. I love it.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, and I still chat to Sarah quite a lot, actually. Just see what's going on over across the pond, as you say.
Oh, she's here stateside.
Yeah. From Minneapolis.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Oh, it's probably cold right now.
Very cold, I think.
By the way, Erica, it is really cold in your house right now.
Oh, I can turn the heat up for you. I can do it through my phone.
No.
Distraction. Go ahead.
So Bex, Australia was beautiful. The people were great. And then you go like a long 18-hour plane ride to Asia or Europe. I forget which one you did, but you guys pissed off a lot of fishermen and you ran in night and cold and rain and there's potholes. How was that whole Europe and Asia trip?
Yeah, it was Europe first. But you know what? The one thing that got me through that Perth Marathon, actually, when I was dying, was knowing we had an 18-hour flight and I could lie down for 18 hours.
A little extra time to recover, if you can even call it that.
That's it. That's really what got me through that marathon in Perth. But yeah, so we got to Istanbul, and it was the European side first, and it was a nighttime marathon basically, because we were a bit late. They had to change the course because it was too dark, and it was a bit dodgy, and that marathon, I'm sure everybody you spoke to about it, it was definitely by far the worst marathon of the week. Oh God, it was awful. We heard
there was some rain and just cold.
It was miserable. It was cold. It was drizzly.
Police officers saying, "Get out of here."
Yeah,
I don't know if you were there for that, but that was on this Twitch live stream.
Oh, was it? Oh, I don't think I saw that. I don't know. But it was awful. And we'd started late. I was still running at 3 a.m. It was, oh God, it was awful. And and I just really sore knee at this point. And there was just little ramps up and down, ordinarily they wouldn't be an issue. But when you're doing 21 laps of these little ramps, oh, my knee was just in absolute agony as well. And it was just 21 laps as well. It was just everything about it was disgusting pretty much, and it was dark. There was lovely views across the river, obviously, to the other side, and you could see the city and stuff. That was quite nice. But that was about the only thing that was nice about it. It was just awful. And I remember, I can't remember what time I finished. It was after 3 a.m. And then we waited because there was only a few of us left. So we had to wait for the others to finish and then get on the bus. And we were the last people to be ferried back to the hotel. And I remember before we started the 777, I remember looking at the itinerary thinking, we get to stay in a hotel on that night. I thought, it's going to be amazing. I'm going to be in this lush hotel, going to have a bed. I'm going to have loads of sleep, really great food. It was just going to be really nice, good respite in the middle of the week. No, not what I had. Probably about 2 hours sleep. I remember getting into the hotel room. I don't know what time, about 5:30 a.m, trying to order room service, but I was so tired. I could barely eat anything.
No.
I was just so tired. When you're tired, you're struggling to eat. And I knew I had to eat something. I was forcing it down, but I couldn't eat it. And then I had to have a shower and then get into bed. And then I thought, I've got to get up for breakfast because I'm not going to survive another marathon. So I probably had a couple hours sleep. It was just absolute hell. And then obviously getting up to do this next marathon then the next day. So everything about that European Istanbul marathon was awful.
What time did the next one start at?
I think it was 10.
Oh,
10 a.m.
God.
Yeah, honestly, it was mental. It was absolutely mental. Yeah, on the Asian side, which was completely different. It was crazy. Completely different. Yeah.
Well, tell us about it.
You're in Perth thinking, I can't wait for this plane ride. And you're probably finishing that first marathon in Europe thinking, oh, God, I got to do another one in 5 hours.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
it was.
no.
And so we so the start of the Asian one, well, when we got there, there was just cats everywhere. I didn't realize there is full of cats on that side.
I would have been so distracted. Like,
and I
I bet they don't fight
cats,
like yours, Erica.
Hopefully it's temporary, but I know.
These cats, considering they were just street cats, were very well kept, and people actually come to stroke them and feed them and stuff. But they were literally like on the wall posing for photos. They were these cats really had it good out there, I tell you. But they were everywhere anyway. So we started that, and I thought, this is the 5th marathon now, and I thought, Christ, I am absolutely ruined now. But, and I remember. So me and Mary Morgan decided to run this one together because we tried to do the one the night before in the Europe side, but I'd kind of gone, I'm just going to run for as long as I can and then do some walking. And her knee was really sore as well. And we'd ended up splitting up in the end on that one. Then the next morning I was, really struggling. She's like, look, I'm going to run for a minute, walk for a minute for the whole marathon. Why don't you try that with me? And I was like, you know what? Go on then. Nothing to lose. Let's try something different.
Yep.
And so that's what we did. And we did it for, it was quite mentally, you have to really stick at it to do, so we'd run pretty fast for a minute and then we would walk fast. And we did it for the whole marathon. I ended up doing the fastest one by like a long way on the 5th marathon, which is mental. I don't know how the hell that happened, to be honest. But yeah, and we stuck together. And poor Mary Morgan, because through the middle half, I'm like, when I get tired and I'm in pain, I just don't want to talk. But she is non-stop talking the whole way through. So chirpy and
Mary
high on
Morgan.
life. Honestly, I don't know how she does it. She's like chirpy and high on life the whole time. I was like looking at her thinking, what is wrong with her? Like,
that's like me and Eric.
Yeah. I mean, it was great though, and she could see I'd be struggling and I'd be like, I can't talk. She'd be like, okay, you okay? And I was like, yeah, I can't talk. Like, I'm really struggling now. Yeah.
Pretend, but
I was like, I don't know if I can keep going on this 1 minute thing. I don't know if I can keep doing it. She's like, yes, you can. Come on. You can do anything for 1 minute. I was like, okay. So she literally pushed me to doing like my best time on that one. She is responsible for that, which is great. And also because I ran around with Mary Morgan, I obviously got to have a beer at the end with her, which was amazing. Yeah.
Now,
nice
Bex, at what point did you realize her actual first name is Mary Morgan? Not Mary, but Mary Morgan.
When I listened to your podcast with her on it.
Us too.
Yeah. I was like, shit, I've just been calling her Mary the whole time.
She didn't correct you. That makes me laugh a little bit.
Yeah.
I would have been like, all right, at what point do you say, oh, that's just my name now to you? Because we've been through so much. You can call me whatever
I think so. She's too nice to correct me, I think. She's too nice.
I'm going to throw you a challenge here. Maybe this is possible. I think it probably is if you can build a custom fire suit for 7 marathons in 7 days and 7 continents. Mary Morgan has summited Mount Everest.
I know.
Do you think anyone's ever done it in firefighter gear, let alone a woman firefighter in firefighter gear?
They definitely haven't. But do you know what? Funny you should say that, because there is a guy in my fire service that is attempting it. Next year, or either this year or next year.
Wow.
Yeah, not with he hasn't got the breathing apparatus set on though, the cylinder. He's just wearing the fire gear. So yeah, he is attempting it. So we'll see.
That's
we'll
crazy.
See.
Yeah. I love it.
I mean, you did the other thing in Antarctica. You did this. It's Everest. It's got to be cakewalk.
I don't know. I know it sounds random because I'm a firefighter, but I'm not a big fan of heights. So I don't know if I fancy
something else. I mean, that doesn't even count. That's not even a mountain. That is like
it's a hill.
Out of this world. Oh, a hill. Okay, yeah.
A very extreme hill.
Yeah. The biggest hill.
Have you seen the documentaries on that with the crevasses and like
yeah,
wants to kill you? That mountain is just out to get you.
I feel
exactly.
Like K2
I'm not
worse?
sure I fancy it. Yeah, maybe actually it might be worse. Yeah, but either of them really. I'm not up for them. I don't think. I'd like to go to the base camp of Everest, but I'm not sure about summiting it. So yeah, Mary Morgan is hardcore. She is a hardcore lady.
In future challenges that you might do you think your identity might be part of this whole firefighter thing where you do things in firefighter gear, or is this maybe a one-off and you'll do another amazing challenge some other time dressed normal?
Well, I think George and I have got a plan to do something next year. So this year we're having a bit of chill time, rest our bodies, because they've been through a lot. Mm-hmm. But next year we've got a plan to walk the whole of Great Britain. So John O'Groats to Land's End. So that's the top of Scotland to the sort of the furthest part of England.
Wow.
In firefighter gear with a set on. Yeah. Because we want to try and attract loads of more firefighters and get loads of media attention, and have like almost like a rolling roadblock of firefighters and go through all the different fire services, because there's loads of different fire services obviously in the UK. And so that is our we haven't actually planned anything yet, but that's kind of like our vision for next year, we think. Yeah,
I love
it. That is a beautiful idea.
Yeah. I feel like it's part of your identity now too. Like you love the job, you did the 777 in the firefighter gear. I think that's great. What is the reception you get from all the other firefighters obviously now in the world, because as we'll get to Miami later, but in your home country, the UK.
Yeah, it's been really good, really good. So, since we went to Antarctica and did the South Pole thing, and then coming back and then doing the running as well. People have, we've got huge respect for what we're doing, but also we really have kind of put, I think, female firefighters on the map a bit over here now, and it really did create quite a lot of interest and we've, there's been a lot of people now going and trying to do their own challenges and things like that, which we really love, and that's what we were trying to do, is inspire other people to go and do stupid things, really, or just challenge themselves, put themselves out their comfort zone. That's the main thing for us. It doesn't have to be going to Antarctica or doing
just
stupid marathons. Right? Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. Yeah, pushing boundaries. So yeah, it's been really great over here, if I'm honest. We've had a really great reception. It's been really nice. And we've been invited to lots of different places to talk about our experiences and what we've done and why we're doing it and things. So it's been really great. Yeah, really great.
I'm hoping that this will help, like with the podcast, maybe we can get more women firefighters out in the US. Because honestly, I don't even think I know any. But I know a lot of police officers, like a majority of my friends are actually cops, but not so much on firefighters. So spreading some awareness, let's up those numbers. Yeah, awesome. Definitely. Love that. And I think that was a big thing about doing it, doing the marathon is that I went around the world doing it. So so hopefully I inspired some people around the world as well while I was at it. Excellent.
Love that. Well, you mentioned the word uncomfortable, and I think you got very uncomfortable at Marathon 6 when you flew all the way to Cartagena. Did I say that right?
Cartagena.
How about that? I think I said it right.
No.
No.
Oh.
Cartagena.
Cartagena.
That's one of my favorite things about Eric is he mispronounces things often, and it's fun. He owns it, though. He owns it.
Yeah, he does. He says it in his own way.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. But yes, it was. That was the hottest marathon, right? And you're in this firefighter gear. How did you actually keep it clean? Like, I know everyone had new clothing every race. Like, how did you clean this stuff from getting gross and disgusting?
I didn't clean it, and it was gross and disgusting.
Oh my God.
So
how did Mary Morgan run next to you the whole time?
I know, I must have been gross. I mean, I had a new, I had like leggings underneath and full skins because the chafage would have been horrific. Imagine. Right. And I did actually, my back from the heat and my the breathing apparatus set rubbing on my back. I remember. I think I was at the airport. I can't remember which airport it was. We went to so many. And I remember thinking, my back feels really a bit sore. And I got, I think I was Sarah. I was like, can you just have a look at my back? And she was like, and her face, when I turned around and her face was like, and I was like, what? She's like, oh my God, you are covered in like chafe, like rubs all over your back, red raw. So I was like, my back was caked in like Sudocrem to like try and like help it. And then I basically had K-tape all over my back then from then. I think it was about the third marathon onwards, just obviously to help with the chafing. I still got some scars from it actually. But I did have new kit every day, but my actual fire gear was not. So I would hang it up like in the back on the back of seats in the part of the plane where no one else was sitting, and it would just dry out. It was disgusting, absolutely disgusting. Yeah, awful.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, anyone around me, poor people. But yeah,
like we said, you do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Who cares if it stinks?
Exactly.
I'm sure everybody was feeling that here and there throughout the whole thing.
Definitely, so. Yeah. And by the sixth marathon, you didn't give a shit. Basically, you did not care.
I believe it.
And yeah, Cartagena was quite frankly, oh God, it was so awful. It was just the heat and the humidity was the worst thing, and I think, I really felt horrific on all the marathons, but on this one, I'd never, I hadn't felt like I was going to faint or collapse. And I felt like that majority of the marathon, I think after about an hour. Yeah, it was just awful, and I did end up having to take the jacket off. I think I did 20 miles. And then I thought, I've got to take the jacket off because I wanted to finish it, because the whole point with this was finishing it. And if I hadn't finished because I wanted to keep that jacket on, and then I collapsed. I just thought, I've got to be slightly sensible. And actually before the marathon and on the plane on the way as well, quite a few of the girls, Jenny Simpsons was like, look, you've done amazing this week, but I just really think you should consider not wearing your firefighter suit for this. She just said it quite a few times to me, or maybe just do a half marathon. She was going, because this is serious now, like this is hot and this is humid, and it's not just about finishing it now, it's about your health and whatever. I was like, oh, I know, I'll be all right. And a few people had said to me, like, come on, you've got to be sensible on this one. I'd had quite a few people say this to me before the marathon, which had made me a little bit worried, obviously, about it. So there at 20 miles, I just thought that I'm going to take my jacket off now because I want to finish this. But yeah, me and Mary, we really bonded over that one. I know I've listened to your podcast, and I was holding her up while she was basically shitting herself on the path with
That's how you make your best running friends.
Watching. Yeah, literally was. And there's me, I was, looking at this tree, this bush to think, right, that leaf will do for her, because obviously there was no toilet paper. You know what I mean? It was just mental. It was absolutely mental. But you had to do what you had to do, and I wanted, we were going to finish that marathon. We'd been out there for hours. I think it took us over 7 hours, that marathon. We'd been out there for hours, and there was no way I was going to let Mary not finish that marathon.
Oh, yeah.
We both started together. We went through hell. And her dad was there, she said, wasn't it? Her dad turned up out of the blue. It was just amazing. And he was giving us these cold rags all the time. He was running to get them wet for us at each end, at all of the kind of little aid stations, and given to us to try and keep us going. And it was just it was just horrific and lovely, all rolled into one, I think. And so we dragged each other over the line in the end, I think. And I was just so pleased to finish it, because I think once we'd done that one, you knew you only had one left and you would get through that one, whatever. And it was the end, and it was Miami, and we were mega excited about that one. So it was pretty awful.
At that point, you must be thinking,
awful.
like, this last one cannot be any worse than Cartagena.
100%. I think it cannot be any worse than that. Definitely not. And the Miami one as well. So I had, before I'd gone out there, because I wasn't going to have any friends and family at the end in Miami. So I'd contacted the fire service actually before I went out there, and contacted the chief of Miami Beach Fire Service, and to see if they had any firefighters that might be interested in, like, just cheering me on, or at the end or something, just a little something. I thought it'd look, be really cool, and it'd look really cool as well for why I was doing it and stuff. So obviously, so at Miami, so as everyone saw, there was firefighters there, but I had no idea the number of firefighters that were going to turn up for that. It was just madness, absolutely crazy.
So definitely gave me the feels. Seeing them supporting you like that, it was amazing.
I feel like we knew at least a day or two before this was happening, maybe not to the extent, but Ben was talking about it. So I have a feeling maybe when you reached out to the Miami Fire Department, maybe like that word spread, and maybe it got to Ben and his team, or David or somebody. Like, are there any behind the scenes, or am I just like imagining this here? Like, because so many showed up, and this thing blew up, like we said on the live stream. I felt like the whole world was watching, even though it was only about 10,000 of us. But like, someone had to have said something and then caught the eye of that fire department. And then all those guys and girls dressed in full firefighter gear showed up for you.
Yeah, I think sort of midway through the week, Ben had mentioned as well about, we need to get some firefighters, sorted for you in Miami. So I think him and maybe someone else had contacted them as well behind the scenes. Yeah. So, but I had no idea there would be that many, and how big it would go. And the feeling, oh my God, when I saw the first firefighter, and I'd been chatting to him beforehand, turn up, because, I didn't know if they would really turn up either. I didn't know these people. The feeling was just, I felt so emotional. I almost like lost my breath for a moment, to say, oh my God, they've actually turned up, they've done it, and to support me. And then when he said, oh, I've got a few more when we get up to the other end and the Miami marathon, and I was like, really? And then we got up to the end, and there was just firefighter after firefighter after firefighter in their full gear.
so amazing to see.
Yeah,
I was so happy
just,
they came out for you.
Yeah, it was so emotional. I remember like a real lump in my throat, seeing them, and then it was just on everyone's face, all the members of public, because there was just loads of public walking around up and down the path as well. It was just, it was a hell of a moment. It was the best moment and memory for me, that marathon, and having those firefighters there running with me. It was just amazing. Yeah,
God, it was so cool.
yeah.
And then we learned from, I think it was Bex Gentry told us that she learned a lot of the firefighters running with you had their face mask on and used the air in their tank until it ran out, because I guess that's something in the firefighter community they do when they lose another firefighter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the ones that had their masks on and were breathing through their breathing apparatus set. So they did the whole half a lap. So they kind of met me at one end and we did the whole lap. And they kind of, they had to try and conserve their air to be able to finish the whole half lap, which is really tough because it was so hot out there as well. And, with all of that gear, that is heavy, all of that gear as well. And I know that afterwards there was quite a few of them really struggling afterwards. They were like kind of almost collapsing, I think, after. But yeah, and they were doing it I think that one of their firefighters had died in the line of duty the year before maybe or something, so they were kind of doing it for in memory of him as well, which was lovely. Yeah,
I just have so much respect for you guys for doing that, and just seeing the numbers, it really was amazing. I can't get over it.
Yeah, it was. And in the fire service we talk about sort of the firefighter family, and it really is a family, and it's so nice that extends across the world. You know what I mean? If you ask a firefighter for help or for something from a fellow firefighter, it happens. It's just so nice. It's so nice that happens. It's really lovely to be part of this community. Yeah,
sounds like a worldwide community.
Yeah, really is. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So you finish in Miami, all the firefighters, everyone's there. Mary Morgan's the last one. She gets her beer. What happens after Miami? What was the next, like, are you sad summer camp is over? Did you all get to hang out? What happened after Miami?
Yeah, we had a bit of an after party on the Miami Marathon day. So in the evening, we all met up and had some drinks, and it was really nice to chat in that kind of chilled environment now, where we weren't, stressing about the next marathon we had to do and trying to do some kind of recovery and eat some food. And everyone was just, relaxed, and we could talk about all of our experiences and laugh over it, and laugh over the pain and misery and funny moments that happened. So it was really nice to see everyone in that and it was in a completely different environment. We were all showered, we were, looking half decent, and yeah, it was really nice, and obviously had quite a few drinks. I think basically I stayed in Miami for 2 or 3 nights after, and I definitely enjoyed. I had rested up, enjoyed the beach, and enjoyed the nightlife for
excellent
for the few nights. And quite a few of us, 100%, yeah. And we did because quite a few people stayed around, hung around from the race. So quite a few of us then met up for dinner on the night. So it was really nice that we all still kind of hung out for those few days before the end.
That's cool. I love it. I'm jealous. I'm envious. That's the word. I'm envious. Tell me, all right, your WhatsApp group chat is still going. What's one of the more recent conversations? I want in on this. I want to know. I want the deets. What are you guys still talking about in the group chat?
Yeah. Well, one of them was that memory of Antarctica, the flight back from Antarctica, and the boys being kicked out of business class and us girls going in there. So, because I'd completely forgotten about it. I think most of us have forgotten about that, but day one is like a way distant memory when you're so shattered. And so we were having there was a bit of banter about that on the group, but a lot of it is I'm doing this 100-miler in wherever they are in America, who's doing it. And quite a few people have met up at races or at different things, at different, I think Dubai Marathon, a few people met up.
Oh, wow.
So, so it's a lot of that about different stuff that people doing. Mad stuff, basically. And then just sometimes like a few memories from the race. Oh, do you remember when this happened? And
so it's
cool. It's really nice to still have that contact with people. Yeah, it's really lovely. And
to be a fly on the wall, it would be cool.
I bet. Yeah, and go on.
I love the fact that you guys are throwing out like, hey, I'm going to do something else crazy. Who wants in? That's just the whole mindset behind the group of you all. And I love that. Like I would fit. I feel like I would fit right in. You doing something crazy? Count me in. What's next?
Oh,
like,
there you go. Yeah.
Erica, you want to do
it.
something crazy? I can think of something, maybe a triathlon.
Except for that. Not ready for
you
that
should
yet.
do it.
I'm the one who's like, you're doing 100-miler. Okay, how bad is it? What are we talking here? Elevation. I would consider that more than a try, but I gotta
imagine the group chat's going to be very active during the next Great World Race. When you're watching on the live stream, many other strangers doing it for the first time and creating the same bonds and friendships that you guys did. I bet you it'll be a lot of fun for that group, this class of the Great World Race, to watch the next class.
Oh yeah, 100%. There's actually, I think there's a few people have signed up to do it again this year.
Oh wow!
Mental. But there's definitely going to be, and there was talk on the group of a bit of a reunion as well. So I don't know if that will happen, but that would be nice, wouldn't it? Be awesome.
Could we get maybe a invite? We'll bring microphones.
All I can say is that you guys can have a reunion without doing something crazy. You guys can just hang out. That's okay.
Yeah, that's
no
true.
Need to do crazy shit.
I think it was a marathon and then stay and have a bit of a reunion all doing a marathon, which for me sounds horrific, but obviously for most of them that's nothing, is it?
You guys could do 7 bars, you guys could do 7 beers in 7 bars in 7 hours. So you got to drink 7 every hour and then go to the next bar and drink 7 more, all within an hour.
Wait,
the 7-7-7 challenge.
That sounds good. That sounds more like my kind of challenge, if anyone knows me. We're right up my street.
Well, Bex, you've listened to the podcast a couple of times now because we know of all the other Great World Race people we've had on, and we know you listen to Mary Morgan. So you know what's coming up next. We have these 2 final big questions. Sometimes they're really hard. Sometimes they're no-brainers. I'm going to go first. So in 2025, every guest on the podcast is invited to our imaginary, maybe we could really do it one day, On the Run's pasta dinner, and you all get to bring your own +1. They can be anyone in the world, alive or dead, famous or not, runner or Formula One driver, as Susie Chan picked. Who is your +1 to our On the Run's pasta dinner?
It is Michelle Obama, because she is an amazing, strong woman. I've read a book. Actually, I read a book when I was actually walking in Antarctica, and she's just awesome. And I bet the story she has as First Lady to the President as well, all the interesting gossip and stories that she obviously doesn't tell people. Yeah, she'd just be awesome. Such an interesting, awesome woman. I'd love to have her as my +1.
I know someone's very excited that Michelle Obama is now going to be at the pasta dinner, and that is Erica right here.
Oh, really?
I totally support your decision. Like, that's an amazing choice. And I also love that you listen to audiobook too.
Should we ask Michelle her thoughts on Jennifer Aniston?
Oh. Awkward.
And we talk to Michelle Obama, because I don't care what you ask her if we get to talk to Michelle Obama.
Yeah, that's true.
You can ask her whatever you want.
That was an amazing. You guys blow my mind sometimes with the not just the Code Brown commandments from last year, but these guests. Like, originally I was thinking runners, but this is freaking great. So who's coming so far? We have Michelle Obama, we have Lewis Hamilton, we have Jesus.
Right.
He's coming. We have so many cool people coming. And then we have a dog. A dog's coming. So that's going to be great too. This would be an awesome. Imagine if we could really do this someday, and we'll have to tell Michelle Obama, hey, you're Bex's +1.
Save the date.
Yeah.
You have
She'll
to
be
show
there.
up.
Really, I'm excited. I don't need to bring a guest now that Michelle's coming. All right, Bex, my question. We have a Spotify playlist that we like to invite our guests to add a song to it. So is there something that just gets you pumped up, ready to run, ready to live life to the fullest that you would like to add to the playlist?
Yeah, right. This is really sad and cheesy, but The Eye of the Tiger.
Oh, not cheesy. Come on.
Down with that. I'm down.
That
one
song,
works.
yeah. You stick that on and that's it. You're ready to go.
How
You're ready
can you
to
not?
go. Yeah.
Ready to
I can't
handle
believe
some
no one's
Rocky.
picked that yet.
Yeah.
Seriously. That's
Amazing.
a wonderful choice. I will add it to the playlist right now.
At some point, Erica's playlist is going to have a lot of duplicates, so maybe she'll change her question one day. But
Come on, I love my playlist. He keeps giving me shit about it. I don't think I want to change it. So.
Bex, this was so awesome. I'm so happy we made this work. I love talking to people from across the pond and around the world, and I love doing podcasts in the morning, even when it's like freaking freezing in Erica's house right now.
I turned it up for you.
Listen, I'm so proud of you. It was I really just thought, oh, this is cool. We'll get to see on Instagram what Bex, Ashley, and Justin do. And then this live stream happened, and it worked.
This is amazing.
It became binge-worthy, addictive content. It's so cool to follow everyone now. And I love the reception that all the runners have taken to us with our excitement for this race. And I didn't really think we were going to talk much about this outside of like hope to get one of them on, maybe Justin, who we haven't even talked to yet.
Oh, you got to.
Everybody else. Oh, we will. He's been doing his tour. Every winter they do a tour. And if you're ever here, you should check out his show because I take the kids. The kids love it. Adults love it. It's a great.
It's amazing.
It's a hilarious. Okay. And when you see the real one, not the one, because they go to schools and they go into school gymnasiums and they do shows for all the middle schoolers and the high schoolers and the little kids. But these big shows at these theaters will say it's an adult show. They're not stripping naked, well, maybe half naked, but it's an adult show.
There is a toilet involved, I think, right?
There might be kids there, but the adults know, like, okay, there's no filter, and it's going to be epic, and it really is.
Justin has no filter. He has
he has zero filter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing.
I'm so happy to learn and to hear that. Originally, I thought he was a little crazy. We're chatting in a group, in a DM chat on Instagram, when this epic hailstorm came through New Hampshire. Justin lives down the street from me. So that's, we're not buddies who hang out, but he lives down the street. So we're talking about this hailstorm that just came through our town. And then he goes, oh, by the way, I'm running in this race. And I go, that's so cool. And then he goes, yeah, I've never run a marathon. I go, I know, like, you're crazy.
What the hell? Yeah.
You're going to be the only person who's never done a marathon. And now I'm realizing.
Here for this stuff, you guys. I am here for it.
Yeah.
Winging it at its finest.
Yeah.
But I was wrong when I thought he was the only one. There was many of you. So, so cool. I hope David Kelly's insurance company doesn't listen because his premiums are going to go up when he learns he's letting all these runners who've never even run a marathon in his race.
Yeah.
But this is awesome. So cool, Bex. Amazing. You're the best.
Oh, thanks, guys. It's lovely to chat to you as well. You guys are awesome. And thanks for putting our stories out there. Honestly, brilliant.
Honestly, this is our pleasure. We are so lucky to get to talk to you guys and hear all the different aspects because you have so many different stories from so many different people. So I love being able to provide that platform for you guys, and we love hearing about it. So thank you, Bex. I really enjoyed this. This was so much fun.
Oh, pleasure, guys. Thank you.
Guys, that was awesome. I really hope you enjoyed that conversation. This was so cool. It was so addicting to watch the live stream. And when we saw you, I was just like, this girl is something else. She's badass. I want to get her on and hear her story. And I loved every moment of it, Bex. Thank you so much. Bex with an X on the On the Runs podcast. That was wicked awesome.
Thanks, guys. Loved it.